Your fertilizer bill this spring was higher than last year, not by a little, by 10 to 15% across most of the country. And next season, it climbs again. The bag of nitrogen that cost you one amount last year costs noticeably more now. The garden center will tell you it is just the market. What they will not tell you is that the 3 nutrients your plants need most are sitting in your kitchen trash in your backyard right now, for free. The same nitrogen, the same potassium, the same phosphorus the factory sells you in a plastic bag. You've been throwing it away every single week. Welcome to the Survival Research. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up what the industry buried. Let me show you exactly why your fertilizer got expensive. Natural gas is the raw material for nitrogen fertilizer. Almost every bag of synthetic nitrogen starts as natural gas, pushed through a process invented over 100 years ago. When gas prices climb, fertilizer climbs with it. And gas is projected to run about 16% higher this year. On top of that, tariffs added 10 to 15% to imported nitrogen and phosphate for most of last year. China stopped exporting urea to protect its own farmers. Phosphate from the Gulf jumped more than a third in under 8 months. None of that is a conspiracy. It is just math that lands on your receipt. But here is what the math forgets. The plants in your garden do not know if their nitrogen came from a factory or a bucket of grass. A nitrogen atom is a nitrogen atom. And you are sitting on more of them than you will ever need. This video is just the surface. I've collected everything the fertilizer industry does not want you to know in one place. All of it in the complete documentation from the Survival Research. The exact ratios for a homemade nitrogen feed that matches a store bag, the one kitchen scrap that holds more potassium than wood ash, the free soil treatment that pulls nitrogen straight out of the air for you, the dilution rates that keep these mixes from burning your roots, the part most people get wrong, and the full schedule for feeding a vegetable garden through an entire season without buying a single bag. Step by step with exact amounts. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. But stay here. We are just getting started. Let me give you the first solution. Grass clippings. The same clippings you bag up and drag to the curb. Fresh grass clippings carry a nitrogen to potassium to phosphorus ratio of about 4 to 2 to 1. 4% nitrogen by content. That is real, measurable nitrogen, the same nutrient in the expensive bag. Fill a bucket 2/3 full with fresh clippings, top it with water, and let it sit for 1 to 2 weeks. Strain the liquid, dilute it about 1 to 1 with water, and pour it around the base of your plants. That is a nitrogen feed that cost you nothing but the water. The reason the garden center never mentions it is simple. You cannot put a barcode on the grass you already mow. There is no margin in a free solution, so nobody advertises it. Solution 2 is sitting under your coffee maker. Used coffee grounds carry nitrogen along with carbon that feeds the living organisms in your soil. Work them into the top layer of soil around leafy plants, or add them to a compost pile to heat it up fast. A handful per plant, raked in, costs nothing, and you are going to throw it out anyway. Solution 3, banana peels. The peel is one of the richest organic sources of potassium you can get. Potassium is the nutrient that strengthens stems, moves water through the plant, and builds the fruit. Dry the peels, grind them, and sprinkle the powder around tomatoes, peppers, and fruiting plants, or chop them and bury them 2 to 3 inches deep near the root zone. A bag of potassium fertilizer now costs more than your weekly bananas ever will. Still watching? Good. That means you are the kind of person they cannot fool with a price tag. If you have made it this far, you already understand more about feeding a garden than most people who buy a bag every spring. Subscribe and share this with someone who is about to overpay for nitrogen. And remember, the complete documentation has every ratio and every schedule in one place. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. Now stay with me, because the next solution is the one the industry fears most. Solution 4. Your own body makes a nitrogen fertilizer for free every day. Human urine is high in nitrogen, but also high in salts. A laboratory at Woods End tested it and found it needs diluting at roughly 20 parts water to 1 part urine before it touches a plant. Diluted right, it is one of the fastest acting nitrogen feeds that exists, and it costs nothing. Undiluted, it will burn everything it touches. That dilution number separates a working solution from a dead garden. Solution 5. Wood ash from your fireplace or fire pit. Ash from untreated hardwood is rich in potassium and raises soil pH. A 1/4 cup spread per 10 square feet is plenty. Never use ash from painted or treated wood because the chemicals stay in the ash and poison the soil. Solution 6. Crushed eggshells. Eggshells are almost pure calcium carbonate. Calcium strengthens plant cell walls and helps prevent blossom end rot on tomatoes and peppers. Rinse them, crush them fine, and work them into the soil around your plants. Solution 7. Epsom salt. It is magnesium and sulfur, both needed for the green pigment that runs photosynthesis. 1 tablespoon dissolved in a gallon of water, sprayed on the leaves, gives an instant boost to tomatoes, peppers, and roses. Do not overdo it, because too much magnesium throws off the balance in your soil. Solution 8. Compost tea. You steep a shovel of finished compost in a bucket of water for 1 to 2 days, strain it, and water your plants. It delivers a balanced range of nutrients, plus the living microbes that make soil actually work. Solution 9. Comfrey and stinging nettle. These 2 weeds are nutrient pumps. Pack a bucket with the chopped leaves, cover with water, steep for 2 to 3 weeks, then strain and dilute about 1 to 10. Comfrey leans heavy on potassium. Nettle leans heavy on nitrogen. Between them, you cover the spectrum with plants you can grow for free in a corner of the yard. Solution 10. A simple compost pile. Food scraps, grass, leaves, and a few weeks of patience turn into the single most complete soil amendment that exists. Dark, crumbly compost feeds every plant, holds water, and rebuilds the soil itself. It is the closest thing to a complete fertilizer you can produce without spending $1. Now here is the solution. The chemical industry truly does not want spreading. Solution 11. Nitrogen fixing plants. Clover, beans, peas, and other legumes carry a bacteria in their roots that pulls nitrogen straight out of the air and locks it into the soil. This is the same nitrogen the factory spends enormous amounts of natural gas to capture. The plant does it for free, powered by sunlight. Plant clover between your rows, or as a cover crop in the off-season, and it fertilizes the ground for you while you sleep. Solution 12 ties them all together. Rotate your crops and keep the soil covered. Heavy feeders like corn and tomatoes one season, then legumes the next to put the nitrogen back. The soil becomes the factory. Every single solution in this video follows the same pattern. A nutrient the industry charges more for every year. A free source of that exact same nutrient sitting in your home or yard. And a reason they never taught you this, which is that there is no profit in something you can make for nothing. Now let me be honest about what this is and what it is not. These solutions feed a home garden and a backyard plot extremely well. They are not a one-for-one replacement for running a commercial farm at scale. Homemade mixes vary in strength, so you watch your plants and adjust. And you respect the dilution rates, because free nitrogen will still burn a plant if you pour it on raw. What these replace is the bag you buy every spring for a garden that was always able to feed itself. You already paid more for fertilizer this year. You will pay more again next year if nothing changes. Or you start treating your trash in your yard as the resource it has always been. The grass clippings, the coffee, the peels, the ash, the compost. The nutrients were always there. They just made sure you would keep paying for them in a bag. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe and share it. Every garden that feeds itself is one less garden that depends on the next price increase. The next thing we dig up is even heavier. What your grandparents knew and never wrote down.